Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, in another podcast. Greetings, happy morning, happy afternoon, or happy evening, wherever you are watching this podcast. As we go along in our trip and journey, lovely journey of language learning, we need to explore different sources for our learning. We need to improve our skills in reading, writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, and grammar. These are major skills that will give us the asset, the good power, the superpower in language learning and fluency when we speak English. Because of so, we need to improve this skill dramatically. I believe, and I'm a biggest proponent of the idea that reading can provide you with all the aspects that you need. If you want to improve your speaking, you need to learn some good quality of vocabulary. If you want to improve your listening, you need to understand what people say. And in order to understand what people say, you have to improve your reading to understand what they say in spoken English. If you want to improve your reading, you need to improve your reading, which is really a nonsensical thing, but clearly that's what it is. Well, you need to understand how famous and renowned and well-known writers write English to simulate their style and then develop your own independent identity as an English writer. Understanding the grammar syntax, or what we call grammar specifically, demands you explore all patterns that are common in English when we write and engage readers. If we want to improve our speed reading, we can definitely rely heavily on the literature of English to understand and improve this particular skill. Now, I have a list for summer, and the list is short. We're starting from short stories for kids, like this one, Monster University. These are short, relatively short books that have very common vocabulary that can be an asset for you to learn English. And you can read it to your kids. You can read it to any one of your family members before they go to sleep. Through reading, you're going to take the chance to put the words of the writer in your mouth and use them. This is one good opportunity for you can take advantage of in order to improve your skill of reading. Read it to somebody else. I can definitely assure you that it will help you. For specialist and advanced and intermediate level readers, I recommend reading this book, Think Like a Freak. Okay? Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner have written this book. It's amazing. It has an eye-opening way of understanding the economy of the world and learning vocabulary. And we're using English to understand economy and in a very simplistic way. I understand that the first chapter is going to be a little bit challenging for you in the beginning, but that should not deter you from proceeding. Because one of the great features of successful language learners is their consistency, their stubbornness, their adamance to proceed and carry on, no matter what challenges they go through. Third recommendation is this, The Best American Essays of the Century by Joyce Carol Oates. They select essays, very famous essays, and they compile them in this book. This book can help you understand different perspectives and different writing styles. So if you want to take an IELTS test or a TOEFL test, this can be very important source for you to develop your reading skill to a point that is relatively satisfactory to get a very higher score in IELTS or TOEFL or one of the standard tests. Last but not least, for specialists and those people who study linguistics, I recommend you read this source, An Introduction to Language by Victoria Frumkin, Robert Rodman, and Nina Hyams. These are very important sources that will help you put yourself on track of language learning. You need to understand two aspects about language. the theoretical aspect, which is the grammar and syntax, and the practical aspect, which what we need more to put language into practice and to help improve our skills of communication. Language is not a matter of organizing words in a sequential, coordinated grammatical pattern, but rather it's a fusion of emotions, feelings, passion, communicative skills, body gestures, eye contact, body movement, proxemics, in order to be able to pragmatically approach people in a nicer way and try to deliver meaning that is mutually understandable. If you need to understand other cultures and develop this bilateral bridge among cultures, you need to understand that this comes from understanding their language. Language is an essential element of your success in your career, in your personal life, and in your communicative skills, whether you want to work as a bank teller or as an agent in a company, or no matter where you will work, language will follow you. So you need to make language your companion. Do not ostracize language as difficult, no matter what language you're learning. I'm trying to learn Spanish this time during the summer. I have so much work to do, but I feel like once I start learning something, I need to proceed and continue. I'm focusing on the weaknesses, on Achilles' heel of Spanish and English, which is the verbs, especially the irregular verbs, because they are very common. And start from that window. Language learning is like a spider web, and only the spider knows the ins and outs of the spider web. So you need to follow the pattern of spider web. There is no one sequential order. There is no chronological order. Language is really random. To put it in a context where we say this is the way you should learn English. You have to learn it your own way by reading novels, by focusing on major sources, by looking for pioneers in language learning and follow them and follow their tips. That is going to help you understand so much better the shortcuts of language learning. What I say here is not going to be the cutting edge tip for you to improve your English. That will be the magic spell for everybody. No, it's just to put you on track, to motivate you, to push you forward in your language learning trajectory. And I hope I can accomplish this goal by the end of this video, where you can snatch a book and start reading it, or reading at least a chapter of that book, and consistently building up to the point where you're going to finish this book by the end of the month and move to the next reading list. That was, in a nutshell, the topic of our podcast for today. I hope it's useful. I try to speak in a way that can be understood. And I wanted to tell you that this stack of books here is essential elements of your success in language learning. So let's hope that this list will be helpful and move you one step forward in your learning trajectory. Have a wonderful day. د.وليد خالد.